A warm good evening to all. I, Atharva Kalse, welcome you all for this 21st episode of Bharat Ke Paramveer. So, our speaker is Mr. Srikant Walwadkar, sir. So, sir, I request to please start today's session.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. A warm welcome to the last but one Paramveer of, of India in the Bharat Ke Paramveer episode 21. I am veteran group captain Srikant Walwadkar from Sangli, Maharashtra, President Purva Sainik Seva Parishad Paschim Maharashtra Prant. Welcome you for this episode. Let's begin our journey. Our responsibility, our commitment to these heroes, 21 Paramveer diamonds in the necklace of our Bharat Mata. We bow our head in front of these heroes, their families who suffered silently. But for protecting us, they did give supreme sacrifice for the country. A message for the young generation. अब तुम्हारे हवाले वतन साथियों. Learn from these Paramveer diamonds. Brief summary of Paramveer Chakra 1999 Indo-Pakistan Fourth War, last war of the last century, which is called Kargil War also. 4 Paramveer diamonds from this war. Today's hero is Havaldar Sanjay Kumar for his bravery, heroic actions of 3rd, 4th July 1999. Fortunately for us, he is one of the 3 Paramveer diamonds, living legends who are alive, and one of the 2 Paramveers who are serving in Indian Army still. These 4 episodes of last war of the last century with Pakistan are dedicated to the unsung heroes, martyred, injured, alive or no more, and their family members who suffered enormously as a result of this war and all previous wars of India, which India fought. Every Indian, along with all their generations, shall remain indebted to these heroes forever and their families. Today's hero, Rifleman or Havaldar Sanjay Kumar. Let's begin our journey. He is Havaldar Sanjay Kumar, date of birth 3rd March 1976, date of recruitment in the Indian Army January 1996 at the age of 20. Life of this hero before joining Indian Army. He was born on 3rd March 1976 at Bakai Gaon in Bilaspur district of Himachal Pradesh. His father was a farmer with challenging background where he could manage to make just enough to feed, clothe, and send his children to school. His mother, again, a great homemaker. Youngest amongst the 3 sisters and 3 brothers. He went for school at Kalol High School, about a kilometer till 10th standard from his village. Armed Forces is a popular career choice of village Bakai Gaon, especially all the North Indian states. Majority of them are in the Armed Forces. His elder brother was in ITBP, Indo-Tibetan Border Police. Uncle was in Army. Sanjay also wanted to join Armed Forces. In 1994, after completing class 10th, he went to Delhi. He learned to drive taxi to earn and help himself and his family to overcome financial challenges. He would come to a conclusion that those who have faced challenges at the early age have become independent, have done well for themselves and well for the country. You'll see enormous examples. While learning taxi driving in Delhi, he was simultaneously kept on attempting for selection in army. After two unsuccessful attempts due to age and merit, he finally got selected in 1996 at the age of 20 years in a recruitment rally at Jabalpur. He was enrolled in army and sent to 13 Jacrif, Jammu and Kashmir Rifles. Life changed after joining army, which provided financial security, dignity, and purpose for living. Why should one join armed forces? I keep telling every young man, young woman, that everyone needs three things in life. One is financial security. Yes, money is necessary. Dignity in the society, everybody needs, whether he is a villager, a poor, or a rich, irrespective of financial condition, social status, everybody needs dignity, respect. And third and very important thing is there has to be purpose for living, and all these three things one can get after joining the armed forces. Life changes after joining Indian Army. Same happened with our hero, Rifleman Sanjay Kumar. He joined 13 Jacrif, Jammu and Kashmir Rifles, and the 13 Jacrif had completed its CI operation, counter-insurgency operations in Kashmir tenure. Their tenure was over and were on their way for a well-deserved peace tenure at Shahjahanpur. After a difficult area, counter-insurgency operations, the units are sent for recouping for a peace tenure. Advance party has, along with the Colonel, Lieutenant Colonel Y.K. Joshi, the commanding officer, had already reached Shahjahanpur. However, the Kargil war had started and 13 Jacrif being already present in the area were redirected to cross Zojila, reach Dras to be with 56th Brigade as reserved to the brigade to take over Tololing. 13 Jacrif is the only unit of Indian Army which has created a history when it has received two Paramveer Chakra for the same operation. It has never happened. It's very, very rare that for the same operation, two heroes, two warriors get Paramveer Chakra, highest gallantry award. And that operation is Battle of Point 4875. Rifleman Sanjay Kumar for his bravery on 3rd 4th July 1999 in the capture of flat top portion of Point 4875, a feature of Point 4875, and Captain Vikram Batra, the next hero. Next Sunday we'll be talking about him, listening to his story for his action in the capture of the ledge. Also a feature north of Point 4875 on 7 July 1999, albeit posthumously. Rifleman Sanjay Kumar, after joining 13 Jacrif, completed the training in 1996 and joined his unit in Jammu and Kashmir for its field area tenure. When the Kargil war started, 13 Jacrif was placed under 56th Brigade on 12th June 1999. So everybody was getting ready for a peace tenure at Shahjahanpur in UP, and the destiny had something different in its mind, and they were diverted to cross Zojila and join 56th Brigade and participate in Kargil war. Pre-assault actions by unit of two Paramveers. Now we'll slowly move from the unit, actions of the unit, to actions of that platoon, and then the actions of individual hero. Let's move this way. Pre-assault actions by unit of two Paramveers. 13 Jacrif were tasked to capture Point 4875, a strategically important location in Mashko Valley, was dominating the National Highway 1A from Dras to Matayan. A stretch of 30 to 40 kilometers was under the control and observation, and from this feature, an effective artillery fire could be brought to bear on this stretch at will. At their will, the enemy would attack Highway 1A and create problems for the Indian Armed Forces. It was imperative to capture this feature and evict the enemy from there. 13 Jacrif was recouping, resting, and refitting itself after capture of Point 5140 at Gumri. Their period of rest was shortened and were tasked to capture Point 4875 immediately. Accordingly, the unit was inducted into Mashko Valley on 30th June 1999 and placed under 79 Mountain Brigade for the capture of point 4875. On 1st July, initial recce and formulation of attack plan was discussed in threadbare, in detail, by the commanding officer of 13 Jackrif and other units. The plan was discussed and finalized at Headquarters 79 Mountain Brigade on 2nd July 1999. On 3rd July in the evening, the men had attended the Havan and Puja held by Unit Pandit, followed by a hot meal of dal, chawal and sabzi without knowing if and when they will get the next meal and if they get at all. They had their shoes laced up, helmets pulled down, their heads with red tilaks on their foreheads, and prasad still in the mouth. They were ready for assault on flat top feature of point 4875. The sun was setting over the jagged peaks of Mashko Valley. The temperature has gone down by a few degrees, and the chilling wind was providing additional challenges to the 60 warriors of Charlie Company under the company commander Major Gurpreet Singh when they commenced their long, challenging climb. The task was to recapture the peaks, Pimple 1 and Pimple 2, and area flat top on point 4875, evict the enemy, and the plan was Charlie Company of 13 Jackrif and 17 Jat, another unit, would walk in the dark throughout the night so that they are not detected, reach the top early morning by 3 o'clock, and launch simultaneous attacks on all 3 points while still under the cover of darkness, clear the area of the enemy, and bring it back under Indian control. Indian artillery guns started firing at these points from the base of Mushko Valley continuously so as to facilitate the soldiers, Indian soldiers, climbing up with minimum casualties. They had a side effect of providing early warning to the enemy of possible attack. When the artillery guns started firing in the evening, the enemy could make out that they are being approached by Indian soldiers. The advance warning they get. The soldiers of Charlie Company and 17 Jat were approaching from different directions as planned and were in ready communication with each other. They were not surprised when they ran into a volley of machine gun fire from top. On 4th July, early morning, the darkness of the night is slowly peeling away under the rising sun of 4th July. The men had climbed throughout the night but are still 250 meters away from the area flat top, their destination. The Indian soldiers of 13 Jackrif and 17 Jat are visible from the top from Pimple 1 and Pimple 2 and point 4875 respectively. Enemy would be able to see them. Rifleman Kuldeep Singh is the first one to get hit. While he's getting evacuated, he is in pain. He falls down. While he is getting evacuated, it was decided to climb up unnoticed for 13 Jackrif soldiers was via the steep rock face right under the point 4875. Under the point, that particular point, the enemy would not be able to see the Indian soldiers. The soldiers took shelter behind a small hump south spur for protection. They have now reached 150 meters away from the first enemy position, Sangar, and under continuous machine gun fire. It was observed that when the rocket launchers hit the Sangar, the enemy soldiers would vacate the Sangar and enter the bunker to save themselves. And after a minute, it takes 1 minute for the enemy to return to their Sangar and take position and start firing the machine guns on enemy approaching direction. This 1 minute was very, very precious, 60 seconds. It was decided that to take advantage of this 1 minute non-firing from the enemy, a team of 1 JCO, Junior Commissioned Officer, and 10 other ranks were detailed to cover this 150 meters distance in 1 minute and reach the enemy position at the earliest. Rifleman Sanjay Kumar and Rifleman Najinder volunteered to lead as Scout 1 and Scout 2 for this team. The moment of reckoning was approaching fast to make Rifleman Sanjay Kumar, his family, his village Bagaigaon, Bilaspur district, Himachal Pradesh, Indian Army, and all Indians proud by his Pramoch actions. Actions of Paramveer. Now we go to the actions of this Paramveer. Now, next time a shell hit the Sangar, within 1 minute, Rifleman Sanjay Kumar and Najinder ran across the jagged rock face with guns in hand just beneath the first enemy Sangar. They could reach 150 meters and they haven't slept for 30 hours and have been climbing for 18 hours non-stop. Remember the condition. The temperatures are very low, winds are very strong, and the distance of 150 meters has to be covered up without getting noticed in that 1 minute. When the enemy soldiers emerged from their bunker, they had no idea that the Indian soldiers were already sitting a few feet away from their bunker and waiting for an opportune moment to attack. The two riflemen resting just below were sitting just below the Sangar with the two enemy machine guns protruding out and firing continuously. If Sanjay wanted, he could stretch his hand and touch them. They were so close. And suddenly the idea struck to his mind, the Paramveer mind in action. Rifleman Sanjay Kumar takes out the roll of white gauze bandage from his first aid kit and wraps it around his hands systematically and meticulously, firstly to the left hand and then right. The gauze in his backpack is not sufficient. He looks at Najinder, saying, Rifleman Najinder understands the language and he hands over his gauze from his backpack to Rifleman Sanjay Kumar to overcome the deficiency. Now, both the hands, Rifleman Sanjay Kumar's both hands are padded and ready. They are looking like white stumps. Rifleman Sanjay Kumar awaits for a correct opportunity. He takes deep breath and looks at Rifleman Najinder one last time. The moment of Paramveer has come. The actions of Paramveer has started. Rifleman Sanjay Kumar makes eye contact with the Rifleman Najinder and nods. Najinder pulls the pin from the grenade in his hand and with his arm arching in a slow semicircular motion, lobs it inside the enemy bunker. A hiss, a blast, familiar smell of cordite, followed by cries of pain, and the bunker erupts in the grey, foggy afternoon. Rifleman Sanjay keeps his head down until all the sharp rocks around him stopped splintering. In one continuous movement, he stretches his hand, bandaged hands, pulls out the enemy machine gun closest to him and flings it on the rocks below. He reaches for second machine gun and it also meets the same fate. The smoke is noticed coming out from his bandaged hands. It's under fire, as his bandage has caught fire. Without bothering for it, he pulls out his AK-47 and pushes into the hole from where he has pulled out the machine gun. He sees three enemy soldiers inside the Sangar, paralyzed by fear and shocked by this close and unexpected attack on their bunker. Sanjay sees 15 to 20 enemy soldiers, dead bodies in the bunker. Sanjay fires from the AK-47 and the three soldiers are dead. First Sangar on flat top of point 485 is clear of the enemy. After getting convinced that there is no living enemy in the Sangar, he stops firing, wipes off his soot-covered fingers and grubby hands to his already dirty trouser. After first Sangar is taken over, the team of a JCO and 8 ORs join Sanjay and Nadaf for attacking second Sangar. The Indian soldiers face volley of bullets from Pakistani soldiers who have moved away from the Sangars and taken position at the heights, waiting for Indian soldiers. Indian soldiers are not aware of this. They have been attacked. Two of them will never rise again. Nab Subedar Ramesh Singh is injured but returns alive but meets his end in another operation in Kashmir soon afterwards. Sanjay Kumar has 3 bullets in his leg and 2 in his hip. He and his surviving colleagues lie down and pretend to be dead. After 15 minutes continuous firing and presuming all Indian soldiers are dead, the enemy soldiers start proceeding to Sangar number 3. Further down the slope, Rifleman Sanjay Kumar and his mates are waiting for the enemy to come within the range. In spite of severe injuries, make a superhuman effort. They move to the second Sangar, which has a few dead enemy soldiers but unused ammunition, RPG, and various arms inside. They turn these enemy machine guns on the Pakistani soldiers, fleeing and shoot them in cold blood before they reach the safety of third bunker. The flat top is free from enemy hands. When they take final stock of the captured area, they find 15 bodies of Pakistani soldiers, a large cache of arms and ammunition, snow huts and tents. By 17:30 hours on 4th July, the unit doctor reaches the bunkers. Till that time, these injured soldiers, including our hero Rifleman Sanjay Kumar, with 6 bullets in his leg and hip, is waiting. With first and painkillers, rest of the team help injured soldiers to walk down the slopes to the base. There's no way they could be brought on the stretchers. They have to take help of other soldiers who are less injured or lucky to be uninjured. And they all come down to their base camp. The stretchers cannot be used on the heights and slopes. And who will carry them? Rifleman Sanjay Kumar reaches Mushko Valley at 9:30 hours in the morning time. From here, he is taken to the field hospital at Gumri by ambulance. He still has 5 bullets lodged in his body. He is still walking in spite of blood loss and bullets inside the body. What a bravery, what a courage. After removal of bullets and injuries stitched, he is taken by helicopter to Srinagar Base Hospital for further recouping. For display of most conspicuous gallantry, cool courage, and devotion to duty of an exceptional high order in the face of enemy, he was awarded highest gallantry award of India, the Paramveer Chakra, third Paramveer Chakra holder of 1999 Kargil War, second living legend serving in Indian Army still. Citation: Rifleman Sanjay Kumar volunteered to be the leading scout of the attacking column, tasked to capture area flat top on point 4875 in the Mushko Valley on 4 July 1999. During the attack, when enemy automatic fire from one of the Sangars posed stiff opposition and stalled the column, Rifleman Sanjay Kumar, realizing the gravity of the situation and with utter disregard to his personal safety, charged at the enemy. In the ensuing hand-to-hand combat, he killed 3 of the intruders and was himself seriously injured. Despite his injuries, he charged onto the second Sangar. Taken totally by surprise, the enemy left behind a universal machine gun, UMG, and started running. Rifleman Sanjay Kumar picked up the UMG and killed the fleeing enemy. Although bleeding profusely, he refused to be evacuated. The brave action of his part motivated his comrades, and they took no notice of the treacherous terrain and charged onto the enemy and wrested the area flat top from the hands of the enemy. Rifleman Sanjay Kumar displayed most conspicuous gallantry, cool courage, and devotion to duty of an exceptionally high order in the face of the enemy. Moment of pride, every warrior would like to look forward for such an experience. The then President of India, His Highness, is decorating the warrior Paramveer with Paramveer Chakra, K. Narayananji. Life of a living Paramveer of India. These are the 3 Paramveer living legends. Captain Bana Singh for a Siachen operation of 1987. Then the youngest Paramveer, Yogendra Singh Yadav, at the age of 19 he got, and now he's a honorary captain. Then Subedar Sanjay Kumar, third living legend and serving in the Indian Army. What a love these youngsters are giving. They're drawing by this youngster of Sanjay Kumar. Subedar Sanjay Kumar is being felicitated by the then Chief of Army Staff. He visits various places. Fortunately for us, he's a living legend, and we can hear him tell his story of bravery. The basic character of armed forces, his statement is, I have not done anything exceptional. If anybody in my place would have done the same thing. What a down-to-earth approach is this. This is the character. This is the character. Food for thoughts. Soldiers don't die when bullets pierce their hearts and heads through their uniforms. They don't die when they fall before an enemy onslaught, or even when they get buried in trenches, staining the earth with their warm crimson blood, worshipping Mother India with their warm crimson blood, as per traditions of Indian armed forces. It is only when we forget their acts of bravery and or suffering of their physically alive families that the soldiers die. My appeal, you should not be one of them. Acknowledgement, I wish to express sincere thanks and acknowledge the following sources for their contribution to completion of this presentation. Photograph of the statue at the National War Memorial, New Delhi. Then Wikipedia, the images of Sanjay Kumar and other heroes. Wikipedia for Sanjay Kumar. Cardozo Ian, Major General Paramveer, Our Heroes in Battle, Rowley Books, India, 2008. Rawat Rachna Bisht, The Brave Paramveer Chakra Stories, Penguin Publishing House, India, 2014. Rawat Rachna Bisht, Paramveer Gatha, translated by my friend Bhagwan Datta, Rohan Publications, India, 2017. Thank you very much. Finally, Rashtraya Swaha, Idam Rashtraya, Idam Namama. Jai Hind, I have finished. God bless all of us.